Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on KwingsLetsPlays. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified when more Ace Attorney arrives. And special thank you to our friends over at Capcom of America for providing a copy of this game for walkthrough, live streaming, and review purposes. So today we are in the second game again, the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, and continuing Susie's story as she poses as a Naruhodou to help her friend Rei, who's basically like Maya. So most likely this is a ancestor of Maya, where of course Susie is an ancestor of Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright and Maya.
Because she ends up, sometime in the future, she ends up marrying Naruhodo-san.
I feel like the mic is too close to me.
It's fine.
Special thanks to Capcom again for providing a copy of this game. That Luke already said. Thanks, Capcom. Special thanks to Luke for being cute.
Okay.
Special thanks to Drago for starting the hype train. Special thanks to people for getting the tickets to the hype train.
Alright. 13th of August, 10:40 a.m. Supreme Court, Judicature of Japan, defendants, antechambers, blah, blah, blah. Rei!
I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Rei. Oh, thanks for the super chat, VG Shine says. I finally finished this game last night. You guys are in for a real treat in the later cases.
Oh, we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, VG Shine.
You have a strong sense of responsibility. I know that's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone.
Oh, no, that's not it at all!
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there we go. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all.
Mike is fine, leave it alone.
So I hope to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Okay, now I pushed it too far away from
Ambi, relax.
Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? You said you had no doubt in your mind that my innocence, that you stand by me to the last. I remember, and now I regret it. And yet, I didn't deserve your trust in me. No, you don't. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato! I deserve it! No, in fact, throw me to the ground! No, that's not too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets! While my feet are dragging on the ground with gravel. I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart, I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you, Rei. Susato! I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised that I'd stand by your side and always be by your side no matter what, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no!
I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Rei, also I have glasses. Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
Nope.
Oh, Susato! You know, you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer man in my eyes now. Oh, Rei, I'm actually a woman. You keep forgetting. I was so scared, you know. When it happened, I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole that poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got her to her feet. before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes, Susato. And you were the only person in the hut at the time? That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I don't understand how she could have possibly been stabbed like that through the curtain of the hut.
A great mystery indeed.
I still can't believe it that it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right, Rei. However it happened and whatever went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you said you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up with the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings, Father. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now, but if they didn't, we're screwed. The trouble is, it's completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't even have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see.
Yes. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver it to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Chemical reagent has been entered into the court record. What's the matter, my daughter? You're suddenly very quiet.
It's this newspaper article, Father. Exclusive! Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the English woman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Saseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. The so-called English lady swanned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on this substance there."
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity has been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a introduction.
So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison.
Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing about the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
This many memo-san. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed. He shouldn't have been. I'm very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh, that's weird.
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office immediately.
Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph, Father. And then, presumably, he posted it anonymously to the police.
Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, we've just heard the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed to the courtroom at once. Oh, it is time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney, Naruhodo.
Yes! I mean, yes. Rei has put her faith in me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. And I need a Snickers bar. I need some energy. I'm not me when I'm hungry. 13th of August, 11:30 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1.
Courtroom 2 is busy.
Courtroom 2 is busy right now.
I hereby call this court to order again as we reconvene to continue with the trial of Rei. Prosecutor Ouchie, have you summoned the new witnesses? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it?
During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikatoba's laboratory at Yumi University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Jazeel Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. Oh, you're too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the Regent delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And Counsel, what were the results then?
This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim,
Yes?
has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
What? Are you sure about that?
I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the Regent, the test is extremely simple. There couldn't have made a mistake. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed.
Ah!
Yes, now the prosecutor is ready to call the new witness. Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture the photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well. Officer, bring in the witness.
Thanks, BJ Starshine. Says you've got this, K-Wing and K-Wife. No trace of poison at the knife, but if that's really the case... How could the toxin have entered the victim's body?
Yimby, just sit still, honey. Who's it? Oh, there we go. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
That's him. Many memo.
Memento?
Many memo.
Rayton?
Like, many memos. Like,
Yeah,
think of it like several memos.
Yeah, I know. Many memos, but how do you say his name?
I would say Wrighton. So Wrighton.
Rayton memo. I'm just...
Wrighton, many memos.
Many memos, okay. I am Wrighton, many memos of the Shoyu News, in what people like to call a journo.
What's a journo, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contradiction of journalist.
Oh.
I'm there with the news breaks, putting a pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in print the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news.
Oh, so, it was you who took the photograph, was it? I mean, was it?
Well, what have we here?
I'm asking you a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, brace yourselves, people. Many Menno senses a scoop in the offing. What? Female student up to foul play defended by a curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll get it to fold at 72 point and 5-leg format for the morning edition.
Huh?
Right then. Let's start with your name.
Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodou.
Next, what made you want to become a lawyer?
Well, I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose.
Ryu has suddenly become very ambitious, I see.
I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while.
By the way, my name is Ouchie. That is Tekatsuchi Ouchie. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into the very defense lawyer's heart. Oh.
He's putting his tongue on the
No,
pencil.
the readers won't buy that. What?
He doesn't want to write about him.
Witness. Yes? What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture.
The females in Japan will all fall for Ryu. Taro, says Kiri.
It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't jot it down. No way it's raining again. That's what I call many memoisms.
Many memoism. Many memoism?
Wow, that is hard to say. Yes, I remember your face. We met the day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, that's right. That was me.
We can just call him manyism or something. Many.
Yeah. But you were supposed to be going back to Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that English woman's words had piqued my journalistic interest.
Miss Brett's words?
A criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse dung. This country's judiciary system is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Huh. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my mini memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all right here. Here it goes. That's the girl.
I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast.
A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. I get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim seed portrayed in this photo. Oh yes, I saw with my own very journal eyes. From the start to finish. Through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Many Memo-san. You will give a formal testimony before the court, please. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events during Miss Brett's death.
Why are all these names so hard to say and very long?
Because it's a Japanese game. This was not translated until 2021.
They could have just named this guy Fred.
Yep. The camera never lies. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journal spirit burst into flames quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera and I took a picture. I pulled apart the rough wave of one of the scenes and poked the lens through the perfect shot. Okay, then.
Read screens, you say?
Right. You can see them clearly enough in the photo shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds.
So you could easily stab a knife through them.
Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. Right, and if the breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing going up before me.
Ignoring, for the time being, the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut?
Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens.
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddy and woven, so I pulled the reeds apart really easily and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. I would get away with it, or would I be seen? I was at the gamble of a lifetime, actually. Tenacity of purpose, that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk a day, run a scoop the next. That's many memoism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and the testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict.
No!
Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful! Then I'll have time for my bento! Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs on a very large question. What question? Exclusive news are startling photographs, all making of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published?
Oh, that's right!
It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. More pathetic excuses. Very well then, Counsel, proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Maybe in his camera.
Cross-examination. The camera never lies. The beach hut was made of a shoddy reed material.
Hold it! What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place?
Call it journal instinct. Can't you think of a better reason?
I think that's a stupid reason. Oh, I don't know, perhaps because as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman?
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journal as a pervert.
Creep! It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge?
Nope, you've got it all wrong. Little student boy.
Sorry?
To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender, man or woman. It's all news. That's not even a mini-memoism. It's basic journalism.
So being creepy is basic journalism? If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate.
Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Tell the court then, witness, what sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut? A sight that vindicated my journal instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all clear as day. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool.
Hold it! So you actually saw Membambi-san entering the hut?
Yup, and she was raging like my journal spirit.
What? And the argument that you mentioned, what was it about exactly?
You stole it. I didn't steal it, that kind of thing.
Talking about the poison, I suppose.
The student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she had laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the statement rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time.
He really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest.
Anyway, the point is that woman is the doc is angry and very mighty. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climatic moment that I caught on film. Okay. How's that pencil, like, indestructible?
I know.
Seconds later, the girl pulled a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back.
Hold it! Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment in which the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment, you say? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out. From start to finish. I have here a sample plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could say it is to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed.
Maybe he's holding a rubber pencil. It's possible.
Right you are. It's all here in the memo pad. Blah.
Memo pad. Oh my gosh.
When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on the stool right here at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that.
Yeah, guys, we are playing Ace Attorney. It's just a different game. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down.
It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt, Kay.
Okay.
Then the next moment I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the room, arguing furiously. Ow. The English woman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way.
What?
And in a flash, plunged a knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other.
What in the world? I don't believe that.
What do you subscribe is a grim crime indeed? Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what the many wisdom says, yo. The beach hut plan has been added into the court record.
By the way, Memo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in that screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent that tragedy rather than capture it on film?
Journalists have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our ration d'etoire. I don't know.
So, you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all because of your raison d'etre or whatever?
Obviously not. The observer always remains on the outside looking in.
And that's something to be proud of, is it?
Ah, Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor. I think the witness's last, expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony.
Father, what about you?
What do you mean, what about him? I mean, he's not testifying. I will grant the defense's request and have the, person make up more of his stories. Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well,
Nihilism.
Nihilism, the foundation of menoism, but I'll be glad to prove that my words ain't meaningless. Okay.
I believe nihilism is the belief that life is meaningless.
I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer.
This guy is weird. Hold it! Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that?
I think you may have the wrong impression of me, huh? We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already.
Oh, I see. You were scared? Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you. Yes.
It was all I could stifle as a scream and hold my hand steadily enough to snap the shot. You really should have summoned help before thinking of your camera.
Yep, exactly. Thank you.
Menoism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in those instances, well, Menoism comes out on top.
But dude, you didn't even get help when someone was being murdered. Ha!
As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yeah, that's it. That's spot on.
Well, you could go to jail for not helping somebody, I think.
Not back then.
Surely he's making all this up. You can go to jail today for not helping somebody if they're in trouble.
He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. Not only can that happen, but the family can also sue you. Or other people. Depends what state you live in. If true, his testimony is devastating. But, whoops.
But it does seem, though, he's holding something back, doesn't it?
That's how you feel. I suggest you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said. As you've no doubt seen and done many times before in your role as a judicial assistant.
Yes, I have! I've seen witnesses like this pressed often. I know exactly what to do. At least after she got stabbed, he should have gotten help then. Even if he was scared before, he should have at least told someone then. It was kind of his responsibility. Alright.
Whoops.
Hold it! What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place?
Call it general instinct. We already did this. My bad.
Oh. I don't know. Maybe because there was a young woman in there undressing?
I ain't no pervert, lady. That's all you need to know.
Yes, you are!
I
You're
beg to
a
differ.
creep.
Nope, I was just there and to take a picture of the crime.
I loathe you, sir!
To my mind, all that was inside the hut was a scoop. Not naked ladies, nothing to worry about. Besides, the camera doesn't judge man or woman. It's all news.
I judge you because you're a freak!
That's harsh. Let me jot that down. You are a freak, end quote. Tell us, freak, then. What did you witness before your eyes? A sight that vindicated my journal instinct, Your Honor. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day.
Dun 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 dun.
Alright, let's see if we can... Oh, let's look at the knife. Well,
Let's examine it.
ah, yes, this must be... Gosh.
Father, are you okay?
I am old. Ah, yes, this must be the victim's blood.
Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? Do you need some tea?
Perhaps.
I'm having to fight the urge to run it under the hot tap and get it clean.
You've always been, very cleanly, haven't you?
Oh,
What happened?
sorry, I was leaning back laughing.
Alright, guys, we have to check the microphone real quick.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I messed up the mic. Testing. Okay. It's a miracle. It's okay.
It's not fully okay, but it's
Sorry.
guys, if there's any feedback loop or things that you hear, Amber hit the mic really hard. We can't fix it until after the stream.
Sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. Alright, so we checked that. Let's look at the poison. Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here, does it? Nope.
Sorry, honey.
It's alright. Accidents happen. Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here.
If we take off the pen's lid, Father, there's a nib there.
Okay.
Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Yoink. Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here, does it? But the poison could have been in there. The RM initials are very clearly engraved here. It's almost like she got that special pen to... Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here, does it?
No, this is a journalist pen. You notice he's using a pencil? I think he was using a pen before to write. Or he hid the poison in there in order to stab her. Maybe my guess.
Mini Memo. Maybe his name is something...
No, I know.
Memo.
I can tell the journalist did it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How can you tell?
I just can. He's the only other person with that same initials as Ren. And she doesn't have a fountain pen.
Oh, look it! He has ink on his hand!
Mm-hmm.
He has blue ink on his hand.
I don't think that mark on his hand is going to be ink. I think that mark on his hand is the regent of the poison. The remnants of it.
Oh, wow.
So it's not on the knife anymore, it's on his hand.
My smoldering journal spirits burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whip my camera to get a click. So you think he killed her to get a story?
I don't know. Or he did it for revenge for, like, a Japanese person. I don't know. Screens and poke the lens through for a perfect shot.
But he said he didn't set foot on nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was only there as an observer. Well... That seems like... Why would he say that? Why would he even go... Oh, why would he even go out of his way to say that unless he wasn't there as an observer?
Hold it!
Whoops, I meant to say present.
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all, then? Are you quite sure?
I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here, huh? My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already.
Oh, I see you were scared.
It was all I could do to stifle a scream and steady my hands to take the shot. You really have summoned help before thinking of your camera, you idiot. I may be an idiot, but I'm a menno whatever. And most of the time in those instances, I come out on top. Alright guys, we're kind of stuck here. Sculptor of stories. Sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. That's the point, yo.
Luke has a keen eye, says Goki. Pen to journalist. I don't know what line. Okay, thank you.
He claims to have spied the whole different affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating.
Drago thinks we should present the pen at some point.
I mean, the only statement that I would present the pen would probably be...
People are telling us examine the logo, says Rebecca. On the pen.
Examine the logo of the pen.
I'm sorry for hitting the mic.
Okay.
Examine the logo on the pen, says Poodle Pop.
That's why you should keep your hands down. Well, let's try presenting the pen.
Gogeta says, I hate this journalist.
Oh, dang it. Wrong button again. Sorry. Sorry. Just don't pay any attention to this.
Okay, I can get you tea if you want.
I'm fine. Wish it'd be possible
Other
to
people
skip.
are saying, don't present the pen yet. Well, we'll just do the best we can, guys. At least we have some mistakes we can make.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to... We got a reaction from statement 3, but... You know...
I mean, usually I press everything on Ace Attorney games.
We've already pressed everything, though.
We have?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we only pressed one statement.
No. We did all his statements.
We all know the M on the pen stands for many memos, says OH. Probably.
Seconds later, the girl pulled a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor.
Maybe we should press that and see... What do you mean, throwing her to the floor? Do you swear before this court? Oh yeah, you're right, we did do this. You saw the precise moment.
Ah, the precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole scene play out. Yeah, we already did that. Here is the court record thing again. Would you like to see the thing that I drew? I did it in class. Class? Blah, 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 I don't know. Yeah, we're stuck.
Did we already examined the fountain pen, though?
We did examine the fountain pen.
So what did we find from the fountain pen? Like, we didn't find any... She just sat at the back. But Luke, what did we find that was new from the fountain pen?
That it could open up and it didn't have any ink inside of it. That was it. This is a very interesting tutorial, like for the second game. I feel like it's a little bit more confusing than the first one. What you describe is indeed the crime scene. Blah, 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 blah. Never code the truth. Yeah, da, 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 da. I'm gonna try presenting the pen on number 6. That's the only thing I can think of.
What statement is this?
The statement says, I never once set foot in the hut. If he didn't set foot in the hut, why does the pen have his initials? So, we're just gonna try it.
Alright, try it, I guess.
Objection!
Your Excellency! Oh,
Your
sorry.
Excellency! I must object to the witness's last statement!
And the evidence you've thrust in the direction is supposed to prove your point?
I apologize. I didn't present it rather more forcefully than I'd intended to.
You will kindly refrain from those overly exuberant outbursts. Oh, never mind.
Try, what's the, can I see what kind of statements were on everything? Like, can you go through all the statements? What's the first statement? What's the first statement?
First statement talks about the beach hut was made of shoddy old reeds.
Alright, what's the second statement?
The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in.
What's the third statement?
Seconds later, the girl pulled a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor.
Okay, as she stabbed... Maybe try putting the pen on that one.
I don't think the pen would be used for that one. The smoldering journal spirit.
Have we fully examined... May I try to examine the pen then? Or is that okay?
You can try to go examine the pen.
How do I... Oh, I don't know how to examine things,
right.
honey.
I'll get the examine.
How do I push examine? Oh, may I please? Okay. So we're gonna try to examine things. Sorry.
We've clicked on every part of the pen though, but... Oh, wait, no.
There's some sort of emblem here, look! But it isn't it a Yume University one?
This must belong to another organization, I suppose. A business of some kind.
It's not a Yume University.
But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Rei. Okay, there we go.
Details of the fountain pen have been updated in the court record.
Alright, so
it doesn't belong to Rei.
We missed a clue.
Oh, can we look at the top, or... If we take off the pen's lid... Oh, we already did that. May I please try it, honey? Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here, does it? I just want to try to look at it, honey.
Mm-hmm. Dun, dun,
it's hard to...
dun.
Now let's unscrew the barrel. Right, we did this. Right, we already did that.
You've already done everything with the pen.
I know, but honey, this is the first time I'm able to examine it. You've been examining it several times.
Okay.
I've only seen it once. Can I examine the other court record stuff?
I mean, I guess if you want to.
Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here. The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I do not know. It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be of little help here, I'm afraid. Couldn't you just have written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we'd all be able to read it. German is the international language of medicine right now, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate, because it's poison.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all there is.
Well, honey, I wouldn't know unless I look at it. I wish there was a way to add the regent to this.
You'll have to do that over the course of the story, though. We figured out what we need to do now, though. We looked at the bottom of the pen. We should be able to...
Why would that help?
Because he's wearing the same emblem on his armband.
Oh, he is?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's his organization. That's his pen.
Oh, there's nothing here.
So we're going to present the pen on Statement 6 again, and this time it should work.
Alright, I'm sorry, sweetheart.
See his armband?
Alright. I pulled apart the rough place. I never set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. And we're going to present the pen then.
Yep.
But we'll present the certain part of it.
Doesn't matter, you examined it, so it'll work now.
Many Memo-san, until now I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth.
You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of our news on my arm.
Oh my gosh, it's the emblem on the pen.
See? In a way, that's my many-menoism.
Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those reactionary remarks, Consul?
Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen?
Ah!
The pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you...
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved here. RM.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Consul. The initials of the accused. Rei, me, mem... whatever.
Membombi. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also RM?
No!
Wrighton Many Memo, RM.
That's, horse dung. Can't you see one of the central tenets of the many-menoism is being a pencil user?
And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obvious blue ink stain.
It would appear that you must have a rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is? Horse dung!
Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
What? Why would we listen to such absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Our news will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky.
Huh?
And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue here. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
In that case, Counsel, the defense will now show the court where the alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency. The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is... on the bottom! Got it! As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize. Many, Memo-san.
Goodness me! It is the emblem of the news!
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Mini Memo-san, how do you respond to this?
Nah, no! Whoopsies. Order! Order! Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, huh, is it? Using, coercive tactics to have all well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets, eh?
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
Alright then. Fine. I won't try to hide it no more. Yeah, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, of the Shoyu News, on behalf of the better half of the Republic, conducted an interview with the English woman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before!
When exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed up in the hut. I couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange, you see. But it came down to nothing, and as many Menoists say, the people don't pay their dues to unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, the court cannot overlook the meaning between you and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting that transpired. Got it, yeah, alright, but, one more condition. Condition, what? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki-san.
Soseki-san?
Yeah. According to my notes here, that man, has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves. It's not a harmless one, it's big. What?
What? That guy has short pants.
Many Menoism states that one secret is every other man's front gate page story. What? Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
Soseki-san, hiding something.
Alright, here we go. Oh no, not him again. The witness's testimony. Secrets. I asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witness come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about it in his testimony, which is why my many Menoism demands I reveal it now.
Okay.
You, mean to say the victim regained consciousness? Ah, well, And when she did, she decided to ask you a question? That's true, yes. He did. And that's not all. The woman gave him a very definitive answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous. Why am I the only one hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack? It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose a withering English rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will know the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Rei somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut?
I guess we'll find out. Cross-examination.
Yep, and just FYI, that is Susato pretending to be a guy in the courtroom.
Yep.
Because women aren't allowed.
I asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined.
Hold it! You asked her for an interview, you say?
Yeah. Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident that she was involved in at the end of last year.
About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life?
That's the ticket. My many-manyism calls for straight talking, see? Why did you murder Dr. H. Wilson is what I put to her.
Yes, that sort of talking is straight as a ruler.
Yeah, anyway, asking every question is, if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way possible. A veteran of the paper taught me that.
And how did Miss Brett answer you?
With, one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Phew, that told me, so I waltzed right out of there.
Really? Something about that doesn't even seem to fit together. Why would he waltz out when she said that?
Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. Okay. Statement 2. Watching secretly from outside. Watching secretly outside. Hold it.
Hold it! That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away.
Yeah, well, persistence wins surprise, right? Any menoist will tell you that.
You're the only one.
Let me think you've left and then you just... Wow. Let me think you've left, then just when they lower their guard is when they swoop in with the scoop. And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photo. Though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence.
Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness.
And now that you've found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide.
I'm sure.
Please go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say. Try to stop me, huh? There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. Dun, dun, dun. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse.
Hold it! And Saseki-san remained behind in the hut?
That's right, yep. Our author friend here, was blabbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me whilst traveling abroad? Back behind faithful bars! I'll be coming for me surely! That is all I could think. I felt as though I were grasping air, drowning in the sea of cold sweat.
Poor Saseki-san. His experience in London have scarred him deeply.
As the world seemed to close around me, I quietly recited a prayer. To Buddha, eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me surely. No,
Sutras?
no sutras are to resound in my courtroom, please. And now, we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. That's when the writer man here witnessed the woman in asked her a question.
Hold it! What question? What exactly did he say?
Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you agree, Mr. Writer Man? Ah! Out with it, man, you yokel hack! What did she say? What was the dying Englishwoman's last words? Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But all of a sudden, from the little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air.
Rei!
I ran up to the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
Oh, wow. But what did you ask her, Soseki-san?
I asked her, who did this to you? Don't, portray this any longer. Who did the woman respond with? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But.
But what?
When in the stand, you will answer the question. Now, without evasion, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will!
I think she did something, though.
I asked her who did this to you, but she never replied.
Hold it! So you tried to find out who the culprit was.
He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever. However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because my stupid mustache because I'm Japanese.
Oh dear. Soseki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Well, he was put in prison in London.
Having read the report of his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. But the Englishwoman didn't ignore you all, did she, Mr. Ryder-san? Well, yes, alright. She did respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it! Hold it! Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Soseki-san, is that really true?
It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength to point trembling fingers at the back of the hut. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today.
Maybe that's the direction from which she was stabbed.
No! Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your testimony originally? But, fiddlesticks, I say! This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishwoman did point her finger toward the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it now, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all.
You mean that your memory of the events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both very unclear?
Yes, that's it, unclear. I am very, very unclear. Objection! What are you babbling about, Your Excellency? Surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly, but there can be no doubt that she was attempting by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because, as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could have possibly committed this crime. I am inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No! No!
Uh-oh. Hehehe. The headline's writing itself, huh? Dashing lawyers hopes dash. 92% across the whole page will do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susie. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give this ruling, and the trial will be over. Whoopsies.
But that's impossible, Father! We don't even know how the crime was committed yet!
Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back on everything we've learnt thus far. Somewhere in those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Rei gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. She was sitting with her back. Someone obviously stabbed through the reeds of the hut.
So the back of the hut.
Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add.
Why would she get up, though?
So the gallant Yoko student's luck finally runs out. Can't say that I'm surprised. In that case, I am ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point now, Susato. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over for this case. Where was the real culprit hiding, and how did he or she stab the victim?
Whoops.
I know how, I think. I don't know.
Well, you said the back of the hut, so let's go with that.
Objection!
What?
Your Excellency! I respectfully ask you to postpone your education for the time being.
My ruling? What? To what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternative theory? None exists.
Objection!
What? No!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
Poppycock, what?
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. Finger.
This is fiction fantasy. Very well. I'm intrigued. As you seem so sure of your self-defense, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryu, Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Good. You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed?
Behind the reeds.
And this way.
Yeah, or like even back there behind that chair. Wasn't that the chair over there?
I mean, this is the entrance, so this is the back of the hut.
But upper left, isn't that the chair she was sitting on?
No, I don't think so. She was sitting on a stool. Like right here.
That's a stool?
This is where the tea was. This is where the victim was drinking.
Alright, fine. Do the stool. Hopefully it'll be alright.
Take that!
The true culprit was in this area here.
There, Consul?
That's right, Your Excellency. I believe the culprit was hiding in the location that I have indicated here.
Why?
Oh, well, that's rather hard to say, actually.
Clearly, this particular theory needs no further consideration. What?
Try the upper left corner. I think the stool's in the upper left. Oh dear, I chose poorly. Will you just try my thing or no?
Yeah, I'll try yours.
I
suggest you by considering where the victim was in the moments leading to her death.
Yes, of course, Father.
Perhaps you'd care to have a more credible location, Consul?
May I try it, please?
I'm gonna save first, because we don't have many strikes left.
Alright, well, I'm not the one who got that strike.
That looked to me like the stool in the back.
Alright, well, you were wrong.
It's saved.
Okay,
At the moment, where was the victim sitting?
how do I do this?
You move, and then you present.
I think they were over here. Is this the stool? Or is this one? Is this the stool?
I already clicked that, it said no.
No, I'm saying, what is the stool? Like, how do I know what the stool looks like? I don't even know what's in here. Is this a stool or is
That's
this
a chair.
table?
That's a chair.
This doesn't look like a stool at all. This doesn't look like a stool. I think that they were out here.
I mean, you can try it, but, I mean, if you're wrong, then just try it again.
I can't tell.
The back wall outside the hut? The wall, probably.
Alright, let's just do outside the hut, Luke.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Just present that. They were out here.
Hit the triangle button.
Take that!
Naruhodo-san would never give up, and I am Naruhodo now, too.
You are a Naruhodo at the moment.
The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here.
Are you mad, Counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut? What?
Oh, that guy got a reaction. The journalist.
Order! Order! But the student lawyer, Naruhodo Esquire! That makes no sense at all! You just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snapped. Why didn't I see any suspicious individuals loitering around? I could swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit has been outside the hut, there is no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut.
Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way.
Yeah.
And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Ms. Brett was killed.
You're bluffing! You're bluffing, you yokel!
No, I'm not.
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, Consul. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut?
The photograph, because it shows that the guy pushed his camera through. Which means that it shows that you can smash stuff through it just shows you can easily push anything through the hut. He put his camera through it. That's what I would say. You can easily, I mean...
There's a hole.
Yeah, there's a hole right there. Oh, that is the stool. I'm sorry, honey.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry, I got confused what was happening.
Take that!
The original photographic print of the crime scene?
Yes! It's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside this beach hut.
Objection! Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing.
I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone at least appears to have noticed what it is that I am referring to here.
Consul, once again, I must call on you to explicitly tell the court, because we're all idiots, about what's in this picture. Where in this photograph is a trace of the stabbing which took place? I mean, you can see it in the back, dude.
Where the reeds are separated.
Take that!
Yep.
Take that! Look closely just here. In the back. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds.
No, I can't see any such thing.
It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them.
This is extraordinary.
Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut.
Ah!
And of everyone present at the scene, there was only one person who could have done just that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Wrighton Menemono-san! It could have only been you!
No! Uh-oh.
Objection!
Object! This is preposterous! This idea leaves me almost speechless! Just look at the photograph again, woman! The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the room! Does she not? Are we to assume, a part of the, this scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection! No, of course not.
We're not?
If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death, inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett, but she just sat on a stool in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable.
Ah, a stool!
Have another look at the photograph here, Ouchie. The slit in the read screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool.
My word! So in fact, the victim was...
Killed while sitting in the stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the read screen.
Ah!
Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively, but then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut before the defendant, Mbambi-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day.
Wow.
By your silence, Memo-san, I take it that you don't deny this charge.
This is... absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth on this matter, which means that the defendant, Rei, is innocent of the crime.
Oh, thank goodness. If I finally made him cave.
I must say, I have never been more proud of you. No, this can't be! The Ouchie clan can't! What of my growth? My growth of hope! If it wasn't all an apparition, I can't accept this! I won't! I see no reason to continue for this trial. I will therefore move to conclude the proceedings by delivering my final...
Hold it! Hold it! I don't know. I don't know who that was. Oh, that guy.
Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals, huh?
But we've established that the victim was stabbed from the outside of the hut through the read screen walls, sir.
And no one but you was in a place at the time to have this hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Oh, boy.
So Seki-san was there.
Well, it seems a little irrelevant now.
Irrelevant?
Yeah, where she was stabbed, but she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What?
What? What are you talking about?
Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up.
What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Yeah, let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, right? And it's been shown that the poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are sure that the sign with particular poison was used. I see, that's good. So presumably that means, that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Uh-oh. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood. What? Aha! Ah, how refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom in those back, and with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by poison.
But he still did stab her. Objection! But that can't be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
No. Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these so-called very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. So, let me get this down. The facts are skillfully established by the defense in this trial, okay? Turn out to be a headline making red herring. Is that about right?
Well...
Da-da-da. Order in this court. But, where does this leave us?
But...
How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady must have, likely drank it.
You mean she drank it, Father?
Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see... Yeah, her cup spilled.
He used the pen. He put it in her drink with the pen. He squirted it. He squirted it into her drink with the pen when he interviewed her. He came by, he asked her a question. While she was distracted thinking about the answer, he slightly went behind his back and squirted it into the drink, and then she said, I'm not going to tell you why I killed... He was like, okay, whatever, and then he left, but he had already poisoned her drink. Then she drank it, then he went out to the back, then he stabbed her.
Okay. A bottle of carbonated water and a glass has been knocked on the stand nearby the beach hut.
Sorry.
The poison could have been slipped into either. That's a good theory.
So someone made Miss Brett drink it. No, she didn't know it was in her drink.
Well, what do you know now? Look at those dashing eyes. This'll make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all for I to poison the woman. I mean, that's been established already, right?
Hold it! You're some kind of creep who stabbed her in the back and you're pretending you're innocent. Established? What are you talking about?
Yeah, don't tell me you've forgotten, huh? That's a little hard to believe given the person who established it was you.
Me? What on earth does he mean?
Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is a prime fresh fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial's not destined to end just yet. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. It's great, that it is. Let me get the shot of that magnificent beard of yours, Your Excellency. You claim it impossible that you were responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you made such claims. He did it through the fountain pen. I'm a journal and I'm a man, and I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now, because that's the many-menoism.
For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
It's gonna take us in circles. Witness testimony. Complete innocence.
He purposely stabbed her afterwards so he could get a photograph of someone taking the knife out.
Probably. Oh yeah, I stabbed the English woman. Oh yes, I stabbed the... I stabbed the English woman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why wouldn't I have bothered to stab the woman if it already poisoned her, what? When I heard the student girl and the pompous English murdering arguing, I got my goat, right? If the courts weren't gonna punish Brett for what she did, someone else should. You know, it was justice, right?
It doesn't even make any sense. So you admitted, then, that everything happened as I described. You are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen, then. You admit that.
You can blame this miserable country of ours.
Huh?
A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country have like that, right? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. I slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there.
So you had intent to kill. He admits that he tried to kill her then. He wanted to bring her to justice. It proves he would have killed her.
As someone who spends his life seeing what the truth is told, I feel I really well awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me.
Huh?
That's right, you guessed it. The pretty little student girl. There's no other woman. She's a woman after my own heart.
You're implicating Rei again.
She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence.
Was she?
And suddenly, snap. The journal hero is off the hook. You still stabbed a corpse.
I know.
You actually did try to kill someone, so no, you're going to jail. The argument is sound is pretty clearly.
Attempted murder.
Yep. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have to wait for it to take effect. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely non-essential. Whatever. And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last.
This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way to forward until the judge's final gavel.
Very well then, Consul. Proceed with your final cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Cross-examination for the last time. Complete innocence. Oh yeah, I stabbed the English woman, and it's the very fact that proves I'm innocent. What?
Hold it! That doesn't make any sense. So you admit that you had murderous intentions toward Miss Brett, then?
Ah! The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice.
Your sense of... he's claiming some sort of righteous indignation?
She was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who'd committed murder right here on our empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Nah, not a chance. So I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice, put things right for the people. So it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it.
So, in summary, murderous intentions, then?
Whatever you want to call it, sure. The point is this. That English woman was a blight, right? So I had to do what was right, for society. Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay. Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Because, why would I bother to stab the woman if she was already dead?
Hold it! So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim, then?
Obviously. That'd be like putting a belt on their trousers when you've already wearing braces like these, suspenders. The accused administered the poison, following which this witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. The crime rests on the accused's shoulders still. That is how the law works, you see. Yokel! Who knows, you may even learn something here today. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning.
That's not the kind of law that this court upholds.
You will reiterate why you are compelled to stab the victim then, witness.
Yep.
When I heard the student girl and a pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat.
Hold it!
Hold it! What exactly were they arguing about?
About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the English woman for killing her beloved mentor.
I don't think so.
Yes, John H. Wilson, a professor of medicine invited here from England by Professor Mikotoba, no less. Right, so anyway, the English woman just jeered, right? Her case was to be heard by the British Council Court in Shanghai, however. There is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. Yeah, it was eating that student girl up inside. She could see it. I really felt for her, you know?
Hold it! Hold it!
What?
I can't! I can't stand here and listen to this tripe! Rei!
Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen, huh?
But this awful man is making all this up! Susato, please! You have to make them listen!
So what now? Return to the dock at once, Rei. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it!
Hold it! Hold it! Your Excellency, please, I implore you. The journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly! He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, great, peeping Tom!
Whoa, take it easy there.
Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say right now.
Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused remarks. I will grant the request for the defense. But, Your Excellency, why? Peeping Toms are very dangerous. This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contradicts the regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak.
Oh, thank you so much, Your Excellency. Arigato. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson at all. We were discussing the stolen poison.
Hold it!
Hold it. The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it, you see. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed by the government. Indeed, all visitors at the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison would be very difficult. That's true! I pestered Professor Mikotoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his lab. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we had been developing, you see. And since Soseki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I am very ashamed of myself. It's that I've had a singular, terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that.
To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison.
What is he talking about, a deadly poison? He didn't have a poison in his case.
I know.
Maybe we're missing something. I don't know.
I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it would just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster.
And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns?
She just curled those beautiful lips of hers, and she said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Ah, yes. Minimono-san, one question if you don't mind. I don't mind. Can't you see I'm busy, though? Clear you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote this article about what you heard. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yumi Medical Research Laboratory.
So he did hear them talking about the poison.
The story was published in the morning edition of the news, was it not? The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about.
Yes! Look at this! The entire article! It's almost like what I said to Miss Brett, word for word!
Ah!
Well, Many Memo-san?
As a journal and, as a citizen of the free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of Many-Menoism.
Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from the outside the hut.
Details of the poison has been updated in the court record.
So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her.
Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts, alright? Your Excellency, there's nothing I want to say. I want to go on the record. Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. Ha! Ha! Okay. Alright, the point is that if you'd poison someone, you'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well.
Unless you were framing them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you knew there were people from the university that knew what it looked like to be poisoned. And they would assume the knife had poison in it and try to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there would be no reason... Just think of it like this. There would be no reason for... what is her name? Mia? I can't remember. There's no reason for Mia to actually take the knife out. Unless she was trying to help the victim. There would be no reason.
Yep.
There'd be absolutely no reason. She obviously was scared that she was being poisoned. If she killed her, she wouldn't even come anywhere near the victim.
3.
So she obviously didn't kill... She obviously didn't poison the victim. She was running towards her to try to save her.
Well, I mean... This guy says, the point is... Poison someone, there'd be no reason to go and stab them as well. Yeah, he did it. So let's present the article.
Can we test the pen with the regent, says Droggle? I don't know.
Objection!
Objection! Well, I can think of a reason.
What?
But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut, or not?
Of course he did! There can be no question of that! After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it is a terrible toxin.
And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membambi-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Where are you going with this, Counsel?
Many Momo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen that opportunity. And he didn't say anything about it.
Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have embedded the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Rei entered the hut. Yes. Very accurately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Many Memo-san overheard some worrying information.
Worrying information? What worrying information?
Let me see. The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained.
Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could have come from is my lab.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death.
Whoopsies.
The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. there are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended in the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Rei being no exception.
Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered the unique poison to this victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties.
What?
In other words, someone like you, Wright, Memo.
Ah!
Darn it, it's hard for me to say your name. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory, wasn't it? And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim, but you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learned of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late for you, so you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen afterwards.
Objection!
But what good could that possibly do?
Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could even take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to make it go faster and the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would have ever suspected.
This is extraordinary.
Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Order! The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument? Well, there are a number of, yes! I completely counter!
Objection!
Objection! The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope.
No, lost hope!
Your hair will most likely never grow back!
Now who's objecting? Not again!
That guy.
You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai! Fallen? Are you calling fallen? I don't need a counter-argument.
What? What are you talking about?
Should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say? Gave it to the victim, you say? Stabbed her, you say? Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's the evidence? Yeah, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean what the professor said earlier in his trial, right? It's all here in many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the news is famous for. It's the power of the printed word. Surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin. Indeed, all visitors at the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison won't be very difficult. Would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open, have I? See? I may... Rayton, a mere reporter from the news, couldn't possibly have stolen that poison. from the professor's lab.
Ah!
Then it goes back to the fountain pen.
I just got what his name says. Writing many memos.
Writing many memos. Yep,
writing many memos.
Okay.
I'm writing.
All right.
I'm busy writing many memos. That's his name.
Yeah. I get it now.
But there can't be any question he must have stolen the poison for that day. He stole it and used it to kill. I know he did. And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence that we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here.
What's your point, you unknowingly handsome country bumpkin?
My point is this. There is one way that you, Many Memo-san, could have stolen the poison that day.
Ah? I've heard enough. Thank you. What the course must now be shown is evidence. What proof have you that the witness stole the poison on the day in question? Fountain pen.
Let's examine it. Maybe we can put the regent with it. If we add the regent to it, maybe we can... Maybe there's a way we can put the regent on it if we open the pen. Alright, if you don't want to.
I want to try to present the pen first.
Alright.
Take that!
The proof you're... Oops, that's you.
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen.
Ah! A fountain pen? How could that possibly be relevant?
These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now.
I swear by weasel hair, calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Well, I, as a forward-thinking man, obviously love my fountain pen. I suck up ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye.
That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later.
What does all this talking with sucking up ink have to do?
And just as it's possible to suck up ink in the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through that nib again, of course.
My word! Can this really be?
Well, Many Memo-san? When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir!
Yeah!
He didn't steal a bottle of it,
Objection!
Most absurd! Never happened!
True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen, of all places?
No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say.
I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Many Memo-san.
Uh-oh.
So the crucial question is this. When exactly was this pen dropped?
Are you suggesting?
The natural conclusion is that your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you had emptied the poison from it into her glass.
Objection!
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand.
Objection! No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink?
What?
As you can see for yourself, if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in this reservoir at all. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how our modern justice system works, huh? So what if my ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve.
Ah!
Yeah, he's throwing pencils.
Ah!
You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's some wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends on whether or not the defense can prove that he did with the evidence. Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist.
Objection! Many Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works.
What?
In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
What? Very well then. I shall call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then, Susato. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove by means of this item that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal this poison.
There you go, chemical reagent.
Take that!
What is this little bottle?
This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify this poison in this case.
What? Ah, yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anyone at all could check for traces of the poison.
A reagent? What?
Yep. One drop of this contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Many Memo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt.
No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
This is my fault. The Empire drove me to do it, trying to hold its head as a civil citizen took up arms in the form of a mighty pen, all in the name of justice and righteousness. Many.
Hiya! Susato, with me! Ha! I'm here! Hiya! Ha! Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryutaro takedown!
They just said her name in court again.
Oops, I said your name in court. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
There we go. Now we get a sob story. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, I just, the devil got a hold of me. And, I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink in the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully.
Oh, and then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen, Many Memo.
Yeah, that's right. Answer me one thing, Many Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all, too juicy for a journal like me to pass up. Then why did the English woman end up dead? I went into the hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all, as a reporter. I known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, that's when he got mad. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism. Oh, how baffling. Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian.
What? What did you just call me?
This country with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. How sad. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave that you came from. Oh my gosh, he was so mad.
That's when I remembered, right? About the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time.
That's why you shouldn't carry poison around.
What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she had done.
She deserved it, though!
When she clearly had no remorse at all for all the stuff she did.
I know, right? She did deserve it.
I suppose it was my journal spirit getting all fired up.
She insulted him and all the people of Japan and their intelligence.
Yep.
She said that everyone in their country was worthless. So rude. I'd like to ask you something, Mini Memo.
Yeah, what is it?
You often talk about justice, but surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver this justice that you sought for.
There's no justice in the press.
I'm sorry?
After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in the courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up, and that's all it was.
A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful what you say. Oh, come on! Doesn't it strike you as strange? Was suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national? And should,
Consular jurisdiction.
Yeah, she should have gotten in trouble. And yet that puffed-up English woman was gonna set sail into the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had been done between Japan and Britain.
She did commit murder. What sort of deal?
I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to publish, too. Well, you know what happened? The editor just tore up the article.
What?
He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is gonna let criminals walk free, if they're gonna crush the free press, and then what choice do I have but to see justice is done myself?
Let's not forget, Mini Memo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett right now.
What?
The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all.
I suppose...
I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, well... It would appear that we've reached a conclusion at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryu Naruhodou.
Oh! Yes, me, sorry, Your Excellency, just musing in a manly way here. Manly way.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience in the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance.
And I am a man!
In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits.
Oh! Naruhodou Ryuunosuke, oh, you mean, yes.
The way he handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are generally entering a new era of justice in our land.
That is very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel almost keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your compatriots.
Thank you. Arigato.
So, Prosecutor Ouchie, do you have a final thought?
Prosecutor Ouchie?
I, of the clan of Ouchie, have been bested by a callous youth not once but twice.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, what has he got in front of him!
He's gonna commit seppuku?
Oh my gosh!
If there was any shred of a former self left, it has withered and died here today.
He has a knife in front of him. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence!
Oh my gosh!
Rather than living in shame.
Oh my gosh, no!
I will end it all now with this blade.
Oh my gosh, no.
For the truth, for that is a true path of ouchieism.
Ouchieism?
On hopes that only one hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness.
No, don't Prosecutor Ouchie. This is really messed up.
Sprig of my top knot, the time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever.
Takatsu.
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh no, don't do it!
And now his clan was forever bald.
Oh, I thought he was gonna do something else.
He
with that
did
knife.
do something. He made it sure that all of his descendants would be bald.
No, it's so sad. Oh,
I'm moved.
They're like in praying position, like a moment of silence for Prosecutor Ouchie's hair.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone in the chat, a moment of silence for his hair.
And that's it. Rei. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rei,
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Yay, cherry blossoms.
Yay! We did it! Oh my gosh, I was so freaked out what he was gonna do with that knife. I was actually closing my eyes. I was so scared.
Oh my gosh. Court is adjourned.
Oh my god.
Case dismissed. Respect for the hair. Alright. 13th of August, 2:38 p.m. Supreme Court of the Judicature of Japan, Defendant's Antechamber. So pretty much, if he would have found out it was a woman that he was beat by, he probably would have killed himself.
Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah, I agree. He did have noble intentions of making justice, but he did try to blame it on the other girl, which was not noble.
yeah, that wasn't noble.
It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing.
She's thinking about Naruhodo.
Lawyers have such great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san?
Maybe in video games.
They do in real life.
Some.
Susato! 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 Thank you so much! You were so dashing in there! Rei and Father! Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've done! Oh no! I think I'm gonna cry! It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you! Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there, Rei. You did wonderfully, Rei. So I would have to say that the congratulations belongs to you. Huh? Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger. To throw caution to the wind. Caution to the what? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryuto Naruhodo, and I'm taking you to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something like that, you could say. Right, I see. Okay, I'll think about it, Rei. The milk bar, I mean. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and it felt so good. I'm Maya. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anyone else who could throw? Isn't there anyone else that we could throw together? Maybe your dad?
I hope you're not looking at me, Rei.
Oh my goodness! No, of course not, there it is at last, Rei's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very end. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, defense attorney Ryu Naruhodo.
Thank you, Father, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba for now. So I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame!
What?
Oh.
What is happening?
Oh, Soseki-san, Inspector Hosonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well.
Is that really you?
No, of course not. I don't want to be found guilty of bad stuff in the courtroom. Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons. I hope, but it is me under here. Susato Mikotoba. Don't tell anyone.
I don't. So dashing, so divine. No. Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato Esquires, that you were a student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding ace attorney.
Poor Soseki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. I feel like they just throw words in here, but after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author.
I'm stunned. That's truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau. Who came up with the Mr. Turtle, no less? I'm not sure you would be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector.
Well, I'm a professional, of course. Haha.
Yeah, I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do. Really. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter. And then, on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the passage, except for he didn't keep Kazuto safe. Though he didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama?
Kazuma was her brother. Adopted brother. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, I know the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that Englishwoman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes! I was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know what the answer was.
On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean. Oh, great.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course.
Ending dialogue.
Ah, my arch-nemesis! How lightly you utter his name!
Well, according to the stories published about him in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been that friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father ever again. Poor Iris.
I know things. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took my professorship at the Imperial Yumi University, but I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
Could you just tell me one thing, Father? Why did you summon me back to Japan then?
Huh?
It's been 2 months now since I've returned. When I left England, it was because of an urgent telegram that arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know. Because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. There was something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way or harm me. That's really the one explanation I can think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susie? I'm sorry, my dear, I simply can't...
Ah! Let me go!
Ah!
Many Memo-san? So, one throw wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away, Professor. Me? Yeah, I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on, you know? In that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Jezebel Brett, you mean? No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. Student of law?
He must mean Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't even know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on the steamship, and that he'll never... Ah! Oh!
Oh my gosh.
Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. You worthy officers, what are you playing at? I'm terribly sorry, Your Excellency.
Oops.
He also can do the Susato takedown.
Yep.
I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Yujin, and it's a good job I came by. Ah, yes, thank you for dealing with him. I'll be here shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency.
The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken a more dashing appearance. Susato.
What? Did you knew all along? From the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Susie. I couldn't tell you to take the risk if Shishiro here hadn't known and then recognized you, so I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So we also basically broke the law, didn't we? Yes. Having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Oh my gosh. Before you go, Father!
Yes, my dear. We have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date.
I feel like you're very corrupt.
But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you so very much.
What did you think of my, Shishiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that.
Oh my gosh. Whatever could Father be hiding from me?
That was a nice judo throw, actually.
About Josiah Brett and Dr. Wilson, and now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime, when nobody else is around.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba Esquires, could I have a word?
Oh yes, of course, Soseki-san. What is it?
I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh?
I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
Huh? This I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me at once.
I will. As you know, my time in England was terrible, cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things have embroiled in, thank goodness for the Lockham student Naruhodou Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba! He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you asking you to return from to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part that my father quizzed you about?
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them, the 2 terrible cases I was caught up in? 2?
Of course, I would never forget.
There was only 1. Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the 2nd case.
The second one, you mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to ever talk about in public? Which is why the only case involving you that had any member of the public is aware of is the first one.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what the dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that the case somehow holds the key to all this curious unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings.
Case of the haunted lodgings.
What?
We didn't even do that case. That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over, but it seemed I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
Huh?
I don't remember a second case.
We didn't do a second case with him. He was a witness in a certain case.
Maybe it's not part of the game.
So,
Maybe.
the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
She said yours! That's a big indication that she likes Naruhodo.
Okay, Luke.
I'm just saying. Japanese is very subtle. And I watch a lot of rom-coms in Japan, so that is pretty evident right there.
Is Susato coming back to Ryunosuke, or will she stay in Japan forever?
She will go back to Ryunosuke. She will.
Why doesn't he come back to Japan?
Because he can't return yet. She also promised to return to him and you know, all that
Some
other
people
stuff.
are saying that the other case is the next case, so we might go back in time for the next
Oh, we
case.
might go back in time. Okay, cool. All right, so that is it, people, for today.
Oh, that was very trying.
The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, number 2. Thank you again, Capcom, for providing a copy of this game. It was a lot of fun. Tomorrow we continue the next case, which apparently will be taking place in the past.
Thank you guys for watching. Great to see everyone in the chat. Ronan, DRA, and Dragold, Prince Blue, Mage Wolf, OHX90, and everybody hanging out here. Goki and everyone. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, but we're gonna be back with another stream in about 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, 8:15 should be when the next stream is. Thank you so much, people. And there are 2 streams after that. There will be a short Fortnite stream on the Imposter mode, which is supposed to be Among Us, followed by around midnight, more Xenoblade. So we have a long night ahead of us. So make sure you guys leave a comment after this video. Tell us what you thought of Susie as a Naruhodo. Before she officially becomes the Naruhodo. And tell us your favorite part. And Amber did a fantastic job today, like, playing a lot of characters. So, see you guys later. Thanks again, Capcom. And hopefully see a lot of you on the Mario stream later tonight. So, Let me just make sure that this will redirect people. No, it will not. Okay, so we need to redirect people to this. There we go. Alright guys, thanks so much, and catch you later.
God bless, happy gaming. See ya!